So, Sikander has obviously been the big project since 2017,
Hmm.
and we've done so many shows together. And at the moment, of course, because we haven't been doing that many shows together at the moment, we can't even rehearse.
Yeah.
So what's been sort of, kind of swaying my boat are grooves, like
Mm.
music that has got grooves that you can move to. You don't have to go to a club to move to that. You can be moving to that while, chopping vegetables to
Hmm.
cook.
Hmm.
You can be moving to that while, cleaning the toilet,
Yeah. Yeah.
doing all the household things you do during lockdown.
Scrub into
So
some
music,
dub.
was that Bash?
Scrub to the dub.
Scrub to the dub, or doing gardening, watering the garden, whatever. So music that has a groove, and that to me is defined by not just like a lot of music. Say electronic dance music relies heavily on big, heavy, steely drums and those big bass drops,
Hmm.
which is fine if you're playing to a big stadium, to a big main room. But in lockdown, we still, it's not because just because we can't go to clubs doesn't mean we don't want to dance, doesn't mean we don't want to move or enjoy movement through music. So what are those little subtle things we can have in music that makes people feel that? So I started to listen to a lot of African music,
Hmm.
and a lot of African American music as well.
Hmm.
And just listening to the subtle things like the way they program the hi-hats, the shakers, the bass line,
Hmm.
just the bass line itself, just listening to the bass line, you go, I'm feeling it, I'm feeling like I want to move,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the kind of thing that I'm getting into right now. So yeah, so to try and find the groove, even if it's a minimalist track,
Yeah.
what can we have in the track that just has got that infectious groove?
Well, it's really evident in the work, in the beats that you've been sending me, and some of the mixes that you've been doing. You've been doing some remixes for some local acts during these lockdowns as well. And yeah, personally, I was really taken with the groove of the beat that you sent me. Can you tell me a little bit about that beat and what did you think of that project? Let's start off with that beat and the sample. Where did it come from?
Yeah, so that beat is basically it was released by a label in France called Comet Records, and they have worked with a gentleman called Tony Allen, who used to be Fela Kuti's drummer,
Mm-hmm.
the legendary Fela Kuti.
Yeah.
And so Tony Allen is Nigerian as well, and he was just a brilliant drummer. And his brilliance lay in the fact that he would just sit back and play the same groove over and over again, but with subtle changes.
Mm-hmm.
Every 8 bars or every 16 bars, he would do something a bit different. Sometimes he would just hold back
Mm-hmm.
and have play a ghost note. And it was he I think, I mean, Fela Kuti's whole band was amazing,
Oh yeah.
but I think Tony Allen's percussion gave it that quality,
Mm-hmm.
which is why even today, even with younger people, younger generations love a Fela Kuti track.
Yeah.
So that particular track is very much a Tony Allen signature track, and
Cool.
especially the shakers, which I know you quite like.
Oh yeah.
That's very much what a fella Tony Allen would do.
Oh, awesome. Well, yeah, I found the beat to be infectious. I remember on that birthday live stream, chucking it on and instantly just grooving in my seat. At that point, I think I was about 18 hours into just continuously writing music and was starting to flag energy wise. And suddenly that beat kicked in and I just went, oh, I got to move. I stood up and boogied around and couldn't help but start writing something to it and came out with something that, I didn't know about the Tony Allen Fela Kuti connection, but actually that was what I was channeling. Was I'd heard
That's
things
right.
like water no got no enemy or
That's right.
zombies or expensive shit. I think is an amazing track.
Yes,
And
yes.
that kind of thing, and just that particular voice, a certain style of delivery that I really like, and it just started coming out of me. And I wanted to get your thoughts. What do you think about that style of delivery, that emceeing style, and what did you think of that verse when you heard it?
I think you did a wonderful job on that, and it's almost like you are taking your practice almost to in a new direction. The how versatile you can be. Like you would do, because you've done all kinds of stuff, and with this track it's almost like you are kind of moving into a new territory, a new mature territory.
Mm-hmm.
you know And I like your take. What the impression I got when I listened to what you did with the track was like, you're going into Ragga territory, you're going to dancehall territory, you know.
Cool.
I mean, and Fela Kuti himself, even though this was before what we would consider modern day hip hop, but even Fela Kuti, the way, because he would talk, you know, while he was performing, and
that James
that's
Brown
the whole
kind of swagger, right?
That's it. That's it. And he was a fan of James Brown too, Fela Kuti. And I think it takes us back to some of the roots of hip hop, I suppose, especially rap, of how it is connected to the Jamaican practice of toasting.
Okay.
And so Jamaicans would have these sound systems, and they would play records, and the DJ would actually talk over the instrumental records.
Right.
So they would play the B side. So the A side had the vocals and everything, and the B side did not was just the instrumental version. And so they would play the record, and the crowd loved that because they know that tune. And then the DJ would go on the mic and talk, you know, and hype up the crowd to dance to that record. And Kool Herc, being of Jamaican background and in New York, in the Bronx, when he started the block parties, he did that. And that basically gave birth to MCing, the MC culture.
Right.
So there is definitely a link.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the connection for the people that don't have that bit of hip hop history. Kool Herc basically pioneered what he called the merry-go-rounds. I was watching this video just before because you linked it to me. Merry-go-rounds, where he would just play the instrumental break on one record. And then just as that was wrapping up, he'd blend it into the instrumental break from another record. And basically, there's no vocals. It's just beats nonstop. And people are having a great time dancing to what they deem to be the best, most expressive point of the track. And then you're saying then MCs would start to jump up and try to hype up the crowd and get into that zone. I think that's something I would never have accessed as an MC, as a rapper, if I hadn't begun working with you and with Sikander as an MC. I came in and up until that point, I used to just call myself a rapper. I'm here to, you know, spit pre-recorded, pre-rehearsed lyrics, or maybe try and freestyle a little bit. But mostly it's like, these are songs, start to finish. I need to deliver them in this way, this tone, this lyrical meaning and message. And once we started doing gigs like Rainbow Serpent, or when we played at Renaissance Festival, especially, was a big highlight for me. Not the one gone, but one prior. And those connections, that connection to the audience of reading the room and spitting that same energy back out vocally, verbally, and trying to amplify it some more, became a really critical skill for me, and it feels like a great way to try and honor that relationship through this track. So so I'm really excited to be working on this track today and try and further it into something a bit more. But I don't think I can do that with just my own direction at this point. I'd love to know from your perspective, what do you think the track needs to go from being just a track, a demo, an idea, into becoming a song? How do you think we can develop this further?
I think we can take bits and fragments of the track, expand it a bit, and then say if we did it as a Sikander thing, we can have we can almost take a page of Fela Kuti's book and turn that into a kind of a magnum opus kind of thing, you know, like a 6-minute thing or something. And then we have a section where, you know, it's you just, you know, fiery lyrics, you know, just shooting it out. And then we could have maybe Nifty doing the sax, being the white Fela Kuti.
White Fela Kuti. Oh, that he would love that. Nifty, if you're watching, you'd probably dig that. Yeah.
yeah. And then maybe Jeremy doing a few skanks, you know, a bit of funk skanks. And I think we could have that as a kind of a psychedelic, you know, slow building, groovy number, you know.
Yeah.
And then give it a bit more of an electronic edge as well. And one of the things I think Nifty and I have been discussing is, for the future, we take more machines on stage.
Okay.
It's going to be more work setting up, but to have a drum machine and have a synthesizer and having, you know, the machines do a bit of the talking as well.
Ooh, very cool. Well,
so I think all these ideas.
Yeah, for sure. I guess that's the other part to something like this as well, is it's hard in a sense to try to write for a live context, right? As an MC. Yes. What do you understand to be, I guess, the themes and the ideas that MCs go for in this context? Like, can you name some of the MCs that are big in dancehall right now, and what do you see as being characteristic to their style?
Well, some of the classic ones were Shabba Ranks and Cutty Ranks. They have been really big and influential. The interesting thing is, even though they were hyping up the crowd, but also they were very clever in how they wrote their lyrical content.
Yep.
And stuff. And then obviously UK has played a big influential role in sound systems culture, but also MC culture. And in drum and bass, for example, there used to be this DJ. He still practices, called LTJ Buchan, and he often worked with a guy called MC Conrad.
Okay.
And MC Conrad had a deep voice, and so often it was an MC Conrad who would actually, while performing with LTJ Buchan, describe the music. And it's almost like he was using his words to describe the sound of what LTJ Buchan was dropping. And the drum and bass crowd, any old school drum and bass fan is going to know these two guys.
Yep.
And they even played in Australia. They played at the Prince of Wales, and they were, I think, regular festival performers. But also in the UK, you had the whole two-step garage culture, scene, which was very much based in London. And it was very much a multicultural scene. A lot of black people, a lot of, as you know, in the UK, brown people are called Asians. So, a lot of it was very multicultural. But there was a lot of MCing involved, which later evolved into grime.
Right. Okay. So the origins of grime are in that drum and bass, dance hall kind of
jungle
genre. Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
So obviously grime MCs, so you got your guys like Skepta so you've got a whole bunch of people there. In terms of dancehall today, there's a whole bunch of people. I mean, there's Vibes Cartel is pretty good. He's in jail, by the way. So.
Oh, yikes.
But then there is, I remember the other day you were playing a track in your car from Kanye's new album, and it featured a duet with Shensi.
Yeah.
And she's really amazing. And I think one of the things I'm liking today is dancehall culture, and a lot of MC culture was predominantly male dominated, very, very male. And I'm seeing that changing a bit. I'm seeing more women getting into MCing and having the confidence to go up there and show their talent. Yep. And I think that's a good development.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, Doctor, that's great background. I've got one question for you. If you could have an AI robot, bot, droid thing following you around and doing your bidding at every turn, what would you have it do? If it could just have one purpose, what would you make it do?
I would make it record any background sound that had a groove to it.
Ooh, nice.
Or even a drone sound. Like right now, my fridge is buzzing.
Yeah.
So maybe the drone just records that fridge. Then sometimes my washing machine rattles.
Yeah.
Record that. Then, so many times, sometimes you're walking down the road and you hear the tram coming down the road, down the hill, the dig-a-dig sound.
Yep.
And that's a kick drum right there.
And it just starts recording. Oh, wow.
They're recording.
That is an awesome purpose for an AI bot. It just, is able to detect groove and then just start recording. That's really
just start
cool.
recording.
And then it just spits these samples back out to you later. You sit down on Ableton and you've got a whole new pack of sounds and grooves that have been pre-sampled and preloaded.
Absolutely. And the background for a new song.
Well, that's an awesome suggestion. I love it. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for this beat and for an awesome opportunity to work on something and to further my craft. And I look forward to sending you the results and seeing what you think beyond that.
It's a great honor, and I'm so happy that we are getting all these projects going.
Super exciting. Doctor, thank you so much. I'll catch you again soon. Have a good one.
Thank you, Emkew.